Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the September 2nd, 2021 virtual hearing of the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City. My name is Nicholas Blendy. I'm the Deputy Executive Secretary and am here to be your MC, I suppose, for today's events. Since the outbreak of COVID-19, Baltimore City has been conducting its hearings virtually using the Webex platform, and I'm going to now go through the preliminary matters for today's events. So, welcome everyone. Cisco Webex is the preferred software of the Board of Estimates, the City Council, and the Planning Department, as well as our board for conducting virtual meetings. To fully utilize Webex, members of the general public should have access to a laptop, an iPad, a smartphone, or another similar device with a camera and microphone capabilities. And as I stated to some folks earlier, if your electronic device doesn't have microphone capabilities, then you can only use the phone number provided below to dial in, and you may not be able to testify because we require video to be active. To participate in the WebEx meeting, members of the public should use the link that is on our screen right here. The access code and the password are listed as well. We do suggest that you have tested everything out before today to make certain that it works. And lastly, if you wish to listen only, you're of course welcome to be logged in and not testify and listen, or you can use the phone number and access code for the call-in that's listed on the screen. All materials, evidence, and related items for today's docket are available on the board's website at that link on the screen, which is under a hyperlink for September 2nd, 2021. And as noted, we observe a 48-hour rule for online hearings. All evidence to be considered today is on the long docket, also located on our website, and any evidence had to have come before 11 a.m. on actually Tuesday. Apologize for the typo. Tuesday, August 31st, 2021. It would have been the submission deadline. If there's any evidence that comes in later, it's not going to be considered. It can, of course, be referenced in under oral testimony. All evidence should be submitted to Assistant Executive Secretary Stacy Russell, and we are closed to the public and do not accept documents in person. Please send it to her email, which is located on the screen. Any amendments to applications made by the applicants or the representatives are not accepted if they came after August 19th for any case being heard today. And any attempt to amend an application today will result in immediate automatic postponement to a later date. Additionally, in addition to everything being posted on our website, any applicant and their counsel would have been mailed a letter instructing them on how to participate in today's events. On the procedures for today's hearing, I'll be reading the instructions preliminarily and giving the ground rules. I will call the cases in order as they are listed on our short docket. I will then ask the applicant and his or her representative to identify themselves, and if necessary, the chairman will have the applicant and any supporting witnesses sworn in by our court reporter. The board will provide an opportunity for the applicant and his or her representative to present their case. The board may ask questions of the attorney or the applicant, and at the conclusion of the case, chair will ask any individual who's on the WebEx if they wish to testify and be heard on this matter, either in support or opposition. And if you do wish to testify, at the bottom of your screen, there's a raise your hand feature. I will then ask you to please use the raise your hand feature to be recognized. When I do that, I will move you into the panel. And then similarly to every witness, our court reporter will swear anyone in under oath who wishes to be heard on the matter. And we do wish you to be aware that should you testify, you may be subject to questions from either any member of the board or the counsel or the applicant themselves. After all testimony and evidence is presented, the board will vote on the application in front of them. Our Assistant Executive Secretary will then read the exhibits into the record. And then we do note that the board is not authorized to discuss any non-case related matters at any point during any of the cases. Today, the board's sitting in its quasi-judicial capacity and therefore only authorized to hear testimony and evidence related to each individual case. If you wish to discuss a different case or a different policy matter, that cannot happen during that specific case. And we can, of course, direct you to the appropriate time, place, and location to have those questions addressed. General ground rules for today. We ask that you please mute yourself when you're not speaking to minimize feedback and extra noise. When you're acknowledged, please do identify yourself and state the spelling of your name clearly prior to speaking. Please speak slowly and in a clear voice so our court reporter can understand exactly what's being said and who is saying it. And I note that this event is running live on Charm TV, and a court reporter is present recording the events. Any individual who uses profanity, is disrespectful, or unruly may be expelled from today's hearing. All attendees, applicants, licensees, and members of the public that wish to provide testimony must be sworn, as I mentioned. We're not taking any physical evidence at these proceedings. And again, no amendments can be taken to the application without being automatically postponed to a later date. Some helpful reminders for Webex. We ask that you please be prepared and have read your materials ahead of time, testing your software and the video conferencing platform prior to being here today. While you're here, please be in a good, quiet space with good lighting and a strong internet connection so that you may be seen and heard clearly. We ask that you be present, not multitasking, so you're ready when the moment comes, and be patient with yourself and others. Above all, technology always throws us a curveball. With that, that is today's short docket, Mr. Chairman. Let me know if you have any preliminary things. Are you ready to move on?
Let's start with case number 1.
Okay, case number 1. Let me move Mr. Woolman as counsel. He's into the panel, and Mr. Peakchert is here, and he is now into the panel. Please turn your cameras on, Mr. Woolman and Mr. Peakchert. First item, Seth Peakchert, 2760 Lighthouse Point LLC, trading as Raw and Refined, 2701 Boston Street 21224. This is an application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service, requesting delivery of alcoholic beverages for a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. And the specific matter today, the board is to rehear a matter from this applicant concerning an issue identified during issuance process.
Thank you. Counsel, will you identify yourself for the record, please?
He got kicked out of the panel. I'm putting him back in. Now, trying again, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
There he is.
Counsel, will you identify yourself for the record, please?
Can you hear me?
Is this Mr. Woolman?
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear me okay now?
I can now, yes.
Okay, thank you. I apologize. I guess we had some technical difficulties. Good morning.
All right. So would you identify yourself for the record, please?
Sure. Representing Mr. Peakchert, Joseph R. Woolman.
And Mr. Woolman, this is a rehearing on a specific issue. Will you need testimony?
Yes, correct.
All right. Let's swear Mr. Peakchert in then, please.
Hi, good morning.
Please raise your right hand. Okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God, or under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. So what was the issue that arose, Mr. Woolman?
Mr. Chairman, and good morning to you and other members of the commission. It's good to see everyone. The issue arose regarding question number 3 on the application. I guess technically we're here to amend the application, but I would urge that it is not a material amendment. Question number 3 pertains to the background check. And while we were not privy to the actual results of the background check, it's my understanding there was an incident in 2009, over a decade ago, in Charlottesville, Virginia, at which time my client received what he believed was just a citation, a civil citation akin to a parking ticket. He's here, obviously, and has been sworn. He's happy to answer any questions regarding the incident. My understanding is that he was visiting his brother who lived in Charlottesville, where they had a homecoming event at his home. Apparently, Charlottesville police were called as a result of perhaps a noise complaint or something along those lines. And a disagreement arose between the Charlottesville police officer and Mr. Peakchert in the front yard of the house. At that time, they issued a citation As a former prosecutor, I must say it's a very interesting charge. Profane swearing or intoxication. I don't know if there's any other kind of swearing other than profane swearing. My client advises me that he paid the fine on the citation. It was over a decade ago, so his recollection isn't perfect, but he does remember the incident. Didn't think it was anything criminal, that's for sure. He has gone through other background checks for employment purposes, et cetera. This has never come up in the past. He's somewhat embarrassed, if I can be honest, about this, because this is a public hearing. He considers himself certainly a very upstanding citizen and was somewhat surprised when we were notified of this issue. I would submit again that this isn't a material amendment to the application. Ask the board consider the circumstances. Again, Mr. Peacher is here to answer any questions you may have regarding this incident from 2009.
Well, so what do we know what it shows as? Is it a criminal misdemeanor conviction or is it a civil fine?
It shows as a misdemeanor criminal conviction.
Okay. So is that accurate, Mr. Woolman?
That is my understanding. Again, we communicated with the board and attempted to obtain the records that the board has, and it's my understanding we're not privy to those. Again, Mr. Petrich's recollection is it was akin to a parking ticket, to be perfectly honest. He received a citation and paid a small fine. He was not aware that he was admitting guilt to any type of misdemeanor, which is certainly unfortunate.
It seems odd that he wouldn't know because I'm sure they had to qualify him to enter a plea. But anyway, so we heard this case previously. When did we hear it?
I would have to check. I believe it was over a year ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah, March 25th is when the board approved this most recently.
Okay, okay.
Just this year.
Yes.
Was it this March? Okay.
Okay. And briefly, Mr. Woolman, just run it. Tell us a little bit. Refresh us about Mr. Pikert's qualifications.
He is actually an employee of Warhorse Cities LLC, who is the owner of 2760 Lighthouse Point. He is familiar with the board's rules and regulations regarding liquor licensees. He is a resident of Baltimore City. Lighthouse Point LLC is part of the Lighthouse Point development, which you may or may not be familiar with. Some of the board members may be familiar with. This is a large waterfront development in Canton. There is an establishment there that is under the trade name Raw and Refined, which includes an outdoor pool and service area at the pool. There's a restaurant that's been there for quite some time. It's very popular. My understanding is they've had no issues for quite some time. The actual operator of the establishment is an experienced restaurateur who has other locations within Baltimore City.
Yeah, our records do not indicate any violations at that location, I don't think. Okay, do the commissioners have questions?
I do.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
I'm just concerned as to whether or not the concern that we are hearing now was the one that was stated in the outline. It says that an issue was identified during the issuance process. Is that the issue that you just spoke about, the citation in North Carolina?
Yeah, yes, Mr. Commissioner.
Okay. And there was no other issue involved in this case when it was heard earlier?
No, Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you.
I have no questions.
Okay. Anything further, Mr. Woolman?
Nothing further. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Public comment, Mr. Blendy?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the Webex platform. I do not see anyone who has raised their hand, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right, then on the basis of the materials contained in this application, the proffer from Mr. Woolman as well as the testimony received, I would find that this incident from Virginia back in 2009 doesn't rise to the level of materiality that would cause an amendment to the application. Other than to clarify this point, I would vote again to approve the transfer of this BD7 license with live entertainment, outdoor table service, delivery of alcoholic beverages. Commissioners?
Commissioner Jones. Based on the fact that there aren't any issues with the application and the issue that was identified was cleared in North Carolina, I vote to approve the application I vote to approve the transfer to ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service with delivery of alcoholic beverages.
So I join my colleagues. I do not think that this incident from 2009 rises in any way to prevent the issuance of this license. So I too would approve the transfer of ownership as we initially did back in March of, I believe, 2020.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Russell.
No exhibits for the record.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Woolman. He may want to think about filing an expungement in Virginia, but otherwise.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Licensee and counsel will receive follow-up instructions on how to complete this transfer of ownership via U.S. mail and conversations with this office. Mr. Chairman, we ready for the next matter?
We are.
Thank you.
All right, let me. Change some roles. All right. Next matter for the board today. Applicants Mario Rafael Minor, Leonard Calvin Knight Jr., and Leonard Ryan Rice, uncorked at Popliteal LLC, trading as trade name pending, 101 North Schroeder Street, Suite 4, Baltimore, Maryland 21201. This is an application to transfer ownership and location of a Class A light beer and wine license presently located at 3000 Windsor Avenue to 101 North Schroeder Street, Suite 4. Applicants are represented by Ms. Hecker, and I am moving the applicants in right now. I believe everyone should be in the panel, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, counsel, identify yourself for the record, please.
Good morning, Caroline Hecker, Rosenberg, Martin, Greenberg on behalf of the applicant. I'm joined by Mr. Knight and Mr. Rice. Mr. Rice is our Baltimore City licensee applicant. Mr. Minor, I just learned the other day, was traveling today. He's, I believe, on an airplane right now. And while he was optimistic that he would be able to log in from his flight, I think he may have overestimated the technological abilities of airplane Wi-Fi. So I don't believe he's present with us this morning. But I intend to proffer if that is okay with the board, and we certainly, the three of us, the rest of us are available to answer any questions you may have.
That's fine. Why don't you proceed?
Thank you. As Mr. Blendy indicated, this is an application to transfer the location and ownership of a Class A beer and wine license that has been issued for 3000 Windsor Avenue to a new location at 101 North Schroeder Street, Suite 4 in Popliteal. The current license premises, where the license has been for some time, was subject to the mandatory termination provisions under the new zoning code for alcoholic beverage sales in residential zoning districts. So the current owners of the license have entered into a contract to transfer and sell the license to our client for use at this new location, which is properly zoned for a packaged goods store. The proposed license premises is located in Center West, which is a 33-acre mixed-use development located in West Baltimore in Popliteal. That's being developed by La Cité, which is a developer out of New York. I included a package of exhibits that I submitted to the board on Tuesday that include a copy of the Popliteal Planned Unit Development, which was enacted by City Council Ordinance 07-419, that shows the scope of the proposed development as a whole. The project will have 4 phases of construction and will ultimately include almost 300 rental units and 1,200 home ownership units, 321 of which will be townhouses, and a number of these units, about 20% of them, will be designated for affordable housing. The project also includes several 100,000 square feet of commercial space, including a large shopping center, office space, and a grocery store, Market Fresh Gourmet Grocery, which will be located on the first floor of a new apartment building located within the development. There's a rendering of that building in the series of exhibits that I submitted as well. And the proposed licensed premise location is in that same building adjacent to the grocery store. Under the PUD, this location is located in what's designated as Area A of the PUD, and the PUD specifically authorizes the uses that were permitted under the old zoning code in the B2 zoning district, which expressly include packaged goods stores. So the property does have appropriate zoning without having to go through another process for that approval. The proposed location is a 477 square foot packaged goods store selling beer and wine and cheese and other snacks. They will not sell cigarettes. They will not sell lottery tickets, but they will have a small store that's intended to be accessory to the adjacent grocery store. The floor plan is also included in the file that I submitted. You know, as the board knows, grocery stores are not permitted to have alcoholic beverage licenses, but what has occurred in many locations throughout the city is a small beer, wine, often beer, wine, and liquor store will open adjacent to a grocery store. This is a very similar setup. There's a news article in the file about the Market Fresh Grocery, which is everyone is very excited to have in this area. West Baltimore has been a food desert for a long time, and having the grocery in this location will be a great boon to the community, particularly the growing residential community that is over there. And having the beer and wine store adjacent to it provides a nice amenity for the community. This is going to be very similar to what exists in McHenry Row with the cellars adjacent to the Harris Teeter, or at Yard 56 in East Baltimore with Streets Market and Fleet Street Wine and Spirits. The proposed store will be open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily. It'll have 6 to 7 employees. They intend to card all of their patrons, require a photo ID at every sale, and their point of sale system will not permit the completion of a transaction without the cashier inputting the customer's date of birth. Two of the three individual licensee applicants are tip certified. We will be hiring a manager to manage the store who will also be tip certified. Our 3 individual licensee applicants, none of them are owners of the entity that owns that will own the license, but they are familiar with the rules and regulations of the liquor board. They pledge to abide by them. Mr. Minor has experience on a prior license in the past. Mr. Rice has been a city resident for the last 25 years and will serve as the city licensee. All 3 of them are authorized representatives of the LLC for purposes of being on the license. The store will be managed through a management agreement with Market Fresh. Again, this is identical to the way that the Harris Teeter manages the cellars at McHenry Row. It allows the amenity of a small beer and wine store to be adjacent to the grocery store, but the beer and wine store is under separate ownership and will have a separate exterior entrance to the public from the building. And Market Fresh will be responsible for running the store, including the hiring and supervising of employees and maintaining the premises. With regard to the criteria the board's required to consider in approving the application, there is a public need and desire for the license, which is evidenced by both the fact that the store is expressly included as a permitted use within the planned unit development. It was contemplated from the beginning, as well as letters of support that are submitted in the file. We have letters of support from the Newtown of the Terraces Tenants Association, Popliteal Now, which includes a petition with about 28 signatures on it, the Union Square Community Association, and the Franklin Square Community Association. You should have all 4 of those letters and the petition in your file. There are not any licenses located in the immediate vicinity of this site that would create an issue for existing licensees. And there certainly is nothing of this caliber, this high quality beer and wine store that is intended to be an amenity to the grocery and the apartment building and the broader development. And so in that way, it does create a uniqueness of services. We do not expect there to be any negative impact on general health, safety, or welfare of the community. And again, this is very heavily supported by the local community associations and the city as well, as evidenced by the PUD. So with that, we're happy to answer any questions that you may have. Mr. Knight and Mr. Rice are both present here. And a couple of our other team members, Ms. Graham and Mr. Creech, I heard on the phone as Mr. Blendy was calling attendance, but they're not the individual licensees. But in any event, our team is all here and available to answer any questions that you may have.
Ms. Hecker, you saw the letter from Ms. Edie?
I have not seen her letter, but I did receive email correspondence from the board staff, and I spoke to Ms. Edie yesterday. Without really getting into the internal politics of the community, I understand that there is a division within the community, the Popliteal Now Community Association. Our team has met with the group that appears, at least according to SDAT, to be the group that is the controlling group of Popliteal Now, but I understand that there is another splinter group, for lack of a better term, that Ms. Edie represents. And as I did speak with her yesterday, as I said, and I understand that her concerns relate largely to communication from the developer about the project, the overall project generally. And, you know, our client, we're certainly happy to meet with her and her group. We intend to be, an active member of the community and good neighbors. We had met with the group that appeared to be the official Popliteal Now group, which supported the application in advance. But we're certainly happy to have a follow-up meeting with her and her group if she'd like.
Okay. All right, thank you. Do the commissioners have any questions?
None.
No questions.
Do we have public comment, Mr. Blendy?
Perhaps I should unmute myself, Mr. Chair. If any member of the public wishes to be heard on this matter and testify, please use the raise your hand feature. I am going to ask Miss Edie, since she is here, if she intended to I believe she may have indicated that she wanted to earlier. Miss Edie, did you wish to testify?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Swear in, please.
That is the only person that I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thanks. Would the reporter swear in, please?
Yes. Would you be able to turn on your video, Ms. Edie?
Yes.
There should be a start video button at the bottom.
Okay. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, Ms. Edie. What did you want to tell us about this application?
Yes, good morning. I'm calling in today because I wanted to speak to on behalf of my community and my neighbors. We have several issues concerning this matter. One of the first things is that the sign was not posted in view that people could actually see it. And so there was no notification of this, that posting until like last Sunday. And so we didn't really have enough time to actually go out into the community and talk about this new venture that's trying to come to Popliteal. And so therefore, we had a board meeting. We decided that we needed to have more input. We wanted to hear the voices of the community. And so we went out and we canvassed the neighborhood. The board, the Popliteal Now's board, went out and we canvassed the neighborhood. We actually had mixed reviews. We had people who just had a lot of questions, and because we weren't aware of what was happening with this liquor license, we actually could not give information to the people. And anyway, we had a lot of opposition coming in. So we had a petition, we took up a petition, and we have over 30 signatures of opposition. But one of the main things is that so far in Popliteal, as Ms. Hecker read, yes, it is a lot of development going on in Popliteal. But these developers and the city has not been good players. The community has not been included in most of this since this new ordinance has been updated. And so since 2017, when the ordinance has been changed, all the addendums, we have not been at the table. And so therefore, Popliteal is looking for transparency. You know, we want truth, we want inclusion. And we are continually feeling as though that is not happening with us. And so this process with this liquor license trying to come into our neighborhood, this is another issue that we have without the developer, without the applicant trying to come in the right way. You know, we have an active community association. We have an active community association that has been active since 2015. Nothing has changed. There has been a new group that's trying to portray themselves, as I shared with Ms. Heckler, as the Popliteal now, that is being pushed through with the developer and some other outside people, some other outside influences. And so a lot of things that's going on here right now is not coming through the right channels. And so I think it's only fair that if we have a group that is active, all concerned, all residents, longstanding residents, people who've been here over 30 years. And I believe that we should have the right to know what's coming into our neighborhood. And this is why I'm here today, to ask for a fair and just hearing, that the people of Popliteal have a say-so. We can ask the questions. We're not just coming up against this developer on here. We did the same thing with the University of Maryland when they had their zoning with one of their buildings that they're trying to build. We did the same thing with the Archdiocese when coming with their school. You know, everyone that comes into Popliteal, Transform Po, you know, we take the same route. We want the respect. We want people to respect us here and stop just trying to overlook and dismiss us as a people. And so, yes, we are today asking for a postponement. We really want this thing, if we can. Can I read what I have? So after speaking with several people from your agency and attorney, Ms. Hecker, and learning of the letter of support of this transfer, I found it even more reasonable for a postponement to be granted. As I stated in my previous letter, I am the president of the Popliteal Now Community Association. I was first elected in 2018 and was re-elected in August of this year. My name is attached as president to critical documents pertaining to this community. There are conflicts of interest involved here that I believe makes this case worthy of hearing from the community at large. Unfortunately, because this is being held virtually and not in person, we feel as though we are not getting a fair deal. Our boundaries are Marbury Street to Baltimore Street to MLK to Curry Street. The applicant's store sits right in the middle of our neighborhood. It is not in Union Square and it is not in Franklin Square. The closest adjoining neighborhood is Highlands Round. I am writing today because my association was not informed of this hearing or the liquor license transfer. One of our members noticed the sign a few days ago. The applicant has not reached out to me or members of our association. We would like the opportunity to discuss the plans for the store and to understand the plan before making a judgment on the application. Perhaps we can create an MOU with the owner that will address the concerns of the community, including parking, hours of operation, security, the type of products to be sold, cleanliness, lighting. Since we have not had that opportunity and we already have plenty of liquor stores and addiction in our neighborhood, the Popliteal Now Association opposes the transfer of this license today. Additionally, you will notice that the petition we submitted on the 26th of August includes 33 signatures, and the address of those that signed are immediately surrounding the building. We were even trying to be fair, allowing one 21 and over signature per household. If given more time, we could have tripled that number of signatures. I noticed that the petition you received in support of this transfer does not include any addresses, and I could hardly read most of the names. We have no idea who these people are or where they live. Again, I request that you give the neighbors that are immediately affected buy this liquor license the opportunity to hear about it before rendering a final decision. I hope you will support our neighborhood having a voice in this process. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Heckler, do you have questions for the witness?
No questions.
Okay, so commissioners have questions?
Yeah, I guess I would, Miss Edie, have you had any conversations at all with Ms. Hecker or her team?
I spoke with Ms. Hecker 2 days ago, and I was expressing some of the same things that I just talked about. She was the one who had made me aware of a signature that she had received of a Paulette Curl, who was identified as a Popliteal community leader.
And is your aim in getting more time? I just want to make sure I understand, because it looks like this is a project that's been ongoing for some time, given
2004.
Given the PUD and everything else, and some things this board can't control, given that PUD. But I guess, are you hoping? I'm trying to understand what your aim is. Is your aim to oppose this, or to get more information, or are you trying to get an MOU?
That's where all of this lay. We did not as a community have an opportunity to discuss what it is that what we're looking for, what we actually need. So that's why we're requesting that we have the opportunity to sit with the applicants so that we can better understand, what it is that we're trying to bring. We might be in favor. We don't know, but we just don't know what's going on. So if we had to stop this, until we have an opportunity to sit down with them and maybe create a MOU, because right now we can't park. Those people that lives directly across the street from there, we have problems parking right now. That's an issue. And so when you're talking about bringing this grocery store and this liquor store, well, it's not a liquor store, well, selling these products, these alcohol products, we're bringing more traffic into that particular area. And this is a residential area. It has always been residential, and so they're now bringing commercial space into a residential block. And it's just consumed heavily right now with traffic. And so we just don't know.
Okay.
Let me interrupt for a second. So Ms. Hecker had indicated her willingness to meet with you. You want to meet with her. We're scheduled to meet again on September 23rd. Can you do that and try to resolve your differences by then?
I believe so, yes.
Ms. Hecker, are you willing to do that?
I think all things considered, we would be happy to do that.
Okay. I'm going to continue the case until our September 23 hearing and hope that you all can resolve your differences, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
This, per the ruling, this case will be continued until the September 23rd, 2021 docket of the board. Mr. Chair, are we ready to move on to the next matter?
Yes.
All right, give me let me do some housekeeping quite quickly. The next matter before the board this morning, applicant Thomas Bennett Jr. and Reggie Ware II, Bar Elite LLC, trading as Bar Elite. Premises are located at 1571 Ridgely Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21230. This is an application to transfer ownership from a secured creditor of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Mr. Kadensky is counsel on this case, and I am moving him into the panel now. Should be ready, Mr. Chairman.
Counsel, will you identify yourself for the record, please? Mr. Kadensky?
Yes. Did you hear me?
No.
Oh, Melvin J. Kadensky, 2320 North Charles Street, representing the applicants.
Do you want to tell us what this is about?
This is a transfer of a little place, 6-day beer, wine, liquor license off of Ridgely Street. The two applicants are here. It's a transfer from the secure party. They've had experience in the business. They plan on opening in the afternoons, initially from 5 o'clock or so, and closing timely. Of course, they're closed on Sunday. They are familiar with the rules and regulations, liquor board. They will be alcohol certified. They will make sure they have all their employees alcohol certified. And this area doesn't have any residences per se. There's 3 or 4 houses, but it's mainly a commercial area, and it's close to the stadium. So they were hoping they would pick up that business from the stadiums to operate their business.
So this location or this license has had a series of violations starting back around 2012, 14, 17, 18. Are they aware of that?
Yeah, they are, and they're aware of the prior operators, and I've counseled them that that's not to be the way they should operate, and they do understand that because the prior operators, that's the reason why the secure party had to take the building back, property back from them.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Do the commissioners have questions?
None.
No questions.
Do we have public comment, Mr. Blendy?
If any member of the public wishes to be heard on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature on the Webex platform. Mr. Chair, I do not see anyone who wishes to testify.
Thank you. So, Mr. Konecki, then on the basis of the materials contained in the application and your proffer, I would vote to approve the application to transfer this BD7 license from the secured creditor to the applicant.
It's a D, Mr. Chairman, just a D.
It's just a D. It's wrong on my thing. All right.
Yeah, the long docket is incorrect. Scrivener's error. I apologize, Mr. Chair. It is in fact a 6-day Class D beer, wine, and liquor.
Thank you.
Class D license then. Thank you. Commissioners?
Commissioner Jones, I also approve the application to transfer the Class D beer, wine, and liquor license to the secured creditor.
Thank you.
Based upon the application and the proffer from Mr. Kadinsky, I too would vote to approve the application to transfer ownership from a secured creditor of this D license to the applicants.
Thank you, Ms. Russell.
No exhibits for the record.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kadinsky.
Council and applicants will receive follow-up correspondence via mail about how to complete the transfer of this Class D beer, wine, and liquor license.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, are we ready to move on?
Yes.
This is also Mr. Kadinsky. The next matter before the board, applicant Carly J. Bates, Lamondo Incorporated, trading as Lamondo, 404 to 406 North Howard Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21201. This is an application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment of a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license. Mr. Kadinsky.
Again, for the record, Melvin J. Konecki, 320 North Charles Street, representing the applicant. This is a who's with me here, transfer of this D license. It was really set up as an arts type license for the World Theater Company years ago. Ms. Bates has been associated with ever since it moved into that building. In the meantime, various people that were associated with the license haven't moved on. So she is familiar with the operation, having been there for the last few years. She's familiar with the rules and regulations of the liquor board. She'd be alcohol certified, and we'll make sure that the people that work there to serve alcohol will also have alcohol certification. Type of light entertainment they have there is mainly art type things for the location.
Thank you, commissioners.
No questions.
None.
We have public comment. Splendid.
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter before the board, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. Mr. Chair, I do not see anyone who wishes to testify.
All right, thank you. So, Mr. Knisk, on the basis of the materials contained in the application and your proffer, I vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of this Class D license with continued live entertainment. Commissioners?
Commissioner Jones, I also agree to approve the application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license.
So based upon the application and the proffer from Mr. Kadensky, I too vote to approve the transfer of ownership with the continuation of live entertainment of this Class D license.
Thank you, Ms. Russell.
No exhibits for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Kadensky. Good luck to them.
All right, thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Applicant and counsel will receive follow-up correspondence from this agency via mail with instructions on how to complete the transfer. Mr. Chair, are we ready for the next matter?
We are.
The next item before the board this morning, applicant Serena Harris, J&H Hospitality Group LLC, trading as Darker Than Blue Grill. Premises are located at 413 North Charles Street, Baltimore, Maryland 21201. This is an application to transfer ownership and requesting off-premises catering for a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. Mr. Fogelman is counsel, and I am moving him into the panel now. He's in the panel, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Counsel, identify yourself for the record, please.
Behalf of the applicant, can you see and hear me?
We can, yes.
All right, thank you.
You want to proffer, Mr. Fogelman?
I'd be happy to. I'm joined here today by Ms. Serena Harris, who has extensive hospitality experience. Her husband is also present today in my office, Casey Jenkins. He's a current licensee at 6317 Bel Air Road. Darker Than Blue is a concept that was successful at 3034 Greenmount Avenue for years. Miss Harris served as the front of house manager at Darker Than Blue at the Greenmount location. Now they'd like to resurrect this concept in Mount Vernon. To that end, the Mount Vernon Belvedere Association, President Michelle Richter, and Ms. Harris have signed an MOU. Unfortunately, due to summer vacation on my part and some other things, that was not submitted to the board until about 10 o'clock this morning, Your Honor, or thereabouts. They also submitted a letter of support. I have that here. So I just want to let you know that that is in the works. Ms. Harris has also been a Baltimore City Public Schools teacher for over 16 years at the very successful Patterson Park Charter School in Patterson Park. And she will be and is scheduled to be alcohol management certified. She will make sure that her bar staff and wait staff is also alcohol management certified and very fresh on the rules and regulations of the Baltimore City Liquor Board. If you have any questions for her, I'm happy to have her sworn in.
But is she willing to agree to have the terms of the MOU apply to her license?
Yes, she is, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Commissioners?
No questions.
No questions.
Anyone else wish to testify, Mr. Blendy?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter before the board, please use the raise your hand feature in the Webex platform. Mr. Chair, I did not see anyone who would raise their hand.
All right, thank you. Mr. Fogelman, then on the basis of the materials contained in the application as well as your proffer, and with the understanding that there will be submitted, if there has not already been, an MOU from the Mount Vernon Belvedere Association, I would vote to approve this application to transfer this Class B beer, wine, and liquor license with off-premises catering, subject to the terms of the MOU to the extent they're enforceable by law.
Thank you.
Based on proffer given by the attorney Fogelman, I also approved the application to transfer ownership requesting off-premise catering. In addition to that, the MOU must be attached to this Class B beer, wine, and liquor license.
Thank you.
Based upon the application and the proffer from Mr. Fogelman, I too would vote to approve the transfer of ownership with off-premise catering, subject to the terms of the MOU to the extent they're enforceable by law.
Thank you, Ms. Russell.
No exhibits for the record.
All right, Mr. Fogelman, thank you. Good luck to Ms. Harris.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
That concludes this matter before the board. Applicant and counsel will receive follow-up instructions via U.S. mail on how to complete the transfer of this Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. Mr. Chair, are you ready for the next matter?
Yes, please.
The next matter before the board, applicant Jocelyn Jones, Luna Garden, 1616 LLC, trading as Luna Garden. Premises are located at 1616 Thames Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21231. This is an amended application that should seem familiar to the board to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service and requesting off-premises catering for a Class D beer and wine license. Mr. Fogelman is counsel.
Thank you. Good morning or good afternoon, Your Honor. Can you see and hear both of us?
Yes. So, Mr. Fogelman, was this before us recently?
I was before you several months ago. We had another applicant. It did not work out as far as the business details. And to let you know, this premises was first licensed by this board about 2 years ago. And we presented to the Fells Point Residents Association and executed an MOU at that time. That MOU is enforceable against the landlord and all future applicants. So we do have an MOU in effect with the landlord himself. That is, the community does. So as far as I'm concerned, there's still a fully enforceable MOU in effect here and has been for a couple of years.
Can you tell us about this applicant?
Absolutely. Ms. Jocelyn Jones has extensive hospitality experience despite her tender age. And she has, I'm actually, there's almost too many places to mention, from the Eastern Shore, all over the city, all over Fells Point. She's been running serving as a general manager for the Rockwell here at 702 South Broadway for several years now. It has been alcohol management certified for nearly 18 years, the extent of her experience in the industry. So she's a pro. She's never had any problems at any of the licensed establishments for which she's been employed. She's looking to, this is a cafe effectively inside a music store, the Sound Garden on Thames Street. And she is going to bring paninis, other sandwiches, fresh salads to the establishment and to the neighborhood. And as you see, this is a D license. This is a beer and wine only license. And she's excited about serving the community in which she lives and has worked for many years.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners have any questions?
None.
No questions.
Do we have public comment, Mr. Blendy?
If any member of the public wishes to be heard on and testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. Mr. Chair, I do not see anyone who wishes to testify.
All right, Mr. Fogelman, on the basis then the materials contained in the application and your extensive proffer, I'd vote to approve the amended application to transfer this Class C license with live entertainment, outdoor table service, off-premise catering, all subject to the memorandum of understanding with the Fells Point Residents Association.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Commissioners?
Commissioner Jones, I also approve the amended application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service with off-premise catering for the Class D beer, wine, and liquor license. Also, the MOU must be attached.
Thank you, Commissioner. Always a pleasure.
Based upon the application and the proffer from Mr. Fogelman, I too would approve the amended application to transfer this D beer and wine license with the continuation of live entertainment, outdoor table service, and off-premise catering, subject to the terms of the memorandum of understanding to the extent it's enforceable by law.
Thank you. Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Fogelman. Good luck to your client. Hope this works out well.
Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
Sure.
That concludes this matter before the board. Counsel and applicant will receive follow-up correspondence via U.S. mail from this agency with instructions on how to complete the transfer. Mr. Chairman, are we ready for the final item on the board's docket today?
Yes.
Let me do some quick housekeeping. The next item on the board's docket this now afternoon is applicant Dante Harrison, The Hamilton LLC, trading as The Hamilton Sports Bar and Grill. Premises are located at 5506 Harford Road, Baltimore, Maryland 21214. This is an application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service and requesting delivery of alcoholic beverages for a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. Applicant is represented by Mr. Kadensky, Mr. Chairman.
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky, 320 North Charles Street, representing the applicant.
Good morning. So, Mr. Kademski, hearing was continued from last week, correct?
That's correct.
And there was going to be a meeting with Hamilton Hills?
Yes, and then we did do a Zoom hearing on Tuesday, and we were able to go through many of the issues. The one issue that was not agreed upon by the applicant is that the Hamilton Hills wanted him to agree to close at 12 midnight, and he, due to the fact the type of business he has, a sports bar, indicated that he would not probably be open to 2 a.m. Every day, but he couldn't agree to the 12 midnight, and that he would want to use the license for the full 6 a.m. to 2 a.m., knowing that he would not every day be open to 2 a.m. in the morning. There's a sports bar, so he would have, NFL games, NBA games, etc. And that's where we stopped.
So were there other items that they agreed upon?
Yes, they were.
And are they willing to put all that in writing?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Do we have, and you also, in the meantime, you also received support from the Hamilton Main Street, Lauraville?
Well, we had submitted a package we had gotten from Hamilton Main Street, Lauraville, Greater Baltimore Urban League. There were some letters from Tisha Ewell, Melissa Robinson, owner and CEO of Blush Beauty Bar, Marquise Dent, Maryland, Baltimore City Department State Central Committee, Corey Pastor Jamin, principal of Francis Scott Key Elementary School, where the applicant works, Teresa Pitts, assistant principal, Francis Scott Key Elementary Medical School, Chanel Wright Green, special education chair, and petitions in favor. The application in the case here for Mr. Harrison, he's been a longtime employee of Baltimore City Schools, works in the school system, has been there working for the last 10 or 15 years, and also is very active in youth sports and youth projects. And if you want to let him hear a little bit from him if you want.
Well, let me just first, Mr. Blendy, do we have a representative of Hamilton Hills with us today?
Yeah, counsel for Hamilton Hills, as well as I believe the president, are both here.
Well, whoever can speak for them, let's swear them in.
Oh, okay. Yes, Mr. Chairman. There's some other additional members who may wish to testify. Do you want me to just do the association first?
Yeah, let's start there.
Becky Witt and Mia Blom are in the room, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. So Ms. Witt, would you identify yourself for the record, please?
Sure. Becky Witt on behalf of the Hamilton Hills Neighborhood Association.
Good morning, or I guess it's good afternoon now, and let's swear your client.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Blom, if you would just please raise your right hand. Thank you. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you.
So, Ms. Witt and Ms. Blum, I think you both understand that the board is not authorized to set the hours for various licenses that they're set by the General Assembly. But putting that aside for the moment, it sounded as though this meeting was fruitful and that there were other matters on which you all were willing to reach agreement. Is that correct? And is it a possible predicate for an MOU?
That is correct. So yes, thank you for postponing it for a week so that we had the opportunity to meet to discuss some potential MOU conditions. I wouldn't say we have a signed MOU at this point exactly, but we do have a list of conditions that both sides have agreed to and a couple that there wasn't agreement on. So I think we could submit those conditions for the record. I can go through them quickly if you would like to hear them. They're pretty kind of standard, but I can list them out if that's helpful.
Certainly, go ahead.
Okay, so just the briefest of background on this is that this was this has been a restaurant for a while, and there at different times under different ownerships have been issues that I think are on the record already with some prior ownership of this establishment. So some of these conditions are similar to the previous MOU that was with the previous owner. So I'll just list them here. And they're pretty standard, like I said. Installing and maintaining exterior lighting that will be turned on daily from dusk to dawn. Keeping premises and adjacent sidewalks free of trash and litter. Making every effort to ensure that the exterior and the interior is clean and inviting. Operating the establishment as a restaurant with food service and keeping the kitchen open and able to serve food whenever the establishment is open, except that he can close the kitchen no earlier than 1 hour before closing time. That he will comply with the definition of restaurant in the zoning code, which requires average daily receipts from sale of food, at least 50% of the total average daily receipt. That he'll identify a contact person to receive communications from Hamilton Hills. Kind of a general good neighbor provision, making every effort to ensure that the establishment is a positive member of the community. That he'll maintain insurance to cover his business and provide HHNA with a copy of that insurance policy. And that if he sells alcohol for carryout, it will only be with the sale of food, and that he will not create any separate packaged goods or carryout alcohol carryout within the those are all the conditions that the applicant agreed. And yeah, as far as the other conditions, the community wanted an earlier, or I'll say HHNA wanted an earlier closing time. The previous MOU with the previous owner, they closed at 11 from Monday through Thursday, midnight Friday and Saturday, and 10 p.m. on Sunday. We understand that the board can't impose those conditions on the applicant, but we were asking for a midnight closure. I think those conditions kind of speak to the general concern of the community, which is that they really want this to operate like a restaurant, which is what the use permit indicates and what the license type is. They really want to make sure that this does not turn into primarily a tavern. So that's the main concern of the community, and those are the conditions that we have agreed to.
Okay, thank you. Let me just ask Mr. Kaninsky, the conditions that were just recited before we got to the hours, were those acceptable to your client?
Yes, they were, Your Honor, and he's here with me in agreement.
Okay, so it sounds like, while you don't have a written MOU, there might be one you could submit after the hearing. Is that correct?
Yes.
Except for the hours, which is, and if you would want to hear from him as to why he wants the 2 a.m. hours, but that's true. That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
I will get to that in a second. And so, Ms. Witt, is that acceptable? Do you have anything further for us?
So as to the live entertainment, just to address that briefly, because I know that that's part of this application. In the previous MOU with the previous owner, live entertainment was extremely limited to no more than 2 nights per week. And given the fact that the community is concerned about these late night hours, we were going to ask the board to, and I know that the board has done this in the past, to wait on the live entertainment to see how the business is operated, and then the business could come back at some further point and and request the live entertainment. So that is an additional thing that we want to ask for. Basically, that the live entertainment be denied for now, understanding that the applicant could come back in the future. I think that is it that I wanted to bring up on our end. Mia might have a couple additional points she wants to raise.
Well, before we go there, so Mr. Kadensky, Commissioner Greenfield reminds me that I postponed this before we had the hearing last week. So why don't you take us through what you would normally proffer on the application, and then we can have Mr. Harrison tell us what his plans are, both about hours and about entertainment.
Yes, Your Honor, that Mr. Harrison is going into this venture and opening a restaurant. He's put a lot of time and effort, and he's met with a lot of people in the community. I understand there are more than one group in the community, and he's got support from the other groups. He wants to operate a sports bar there. He'll have everybody alcohol certified that's distributing alcohol. He would, excuse me, he would not be having any type of entertainment, every day of the week. And I'll let him explain to you what he would like to have. He will be following the rules and regulations of the liquor board. As I mentioned before, he's been a lifelong working with the youth in the city, working from Francis Scott Key and other areas. And I'd probably let him give you a little better idea, if you would, if the court reporter wants to swear him in.
Yeah, we will. Are they all going to be tip certified?
Yes, he will. And the people who will be serving alcohol will be tip certified.
Okay. Reporter, would you swear Mr. Harrison, please?
Okay. And this is Dante Harrison, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Good afternoon, Mr. Harrison. Would you tell us what you envisioned for your establishment?
So I envisioned a sports bar and grill, a place where people can come, watch any sporting event, be comfortable, a classy place, very clean. I also would like to have like pool league, interactive things like that, dart league. I like to do karaoke. I can't call it a community center, of course, but a place where you could congregate and be comfortable with your neighbors, friends, or what have you.
Is the karaoke going to be the primary live entertainment?
No. Yeah, that would probably be the primary live entertainment. Although I will, at some point, I would like to do jazz, maybe a jazz band or something in there. But other than that, karaoke is my main form of live entertainment.
And just let me ask you, you are familiar with that area. You said you'd worked at the school. What?
Yeah, I'm familiar with the area. I mean, I've lived in that area for on and off forever. I've frequented the area, pubs, taverns, restaurants, market. I'm familiar in the community. When I went to the farmers market to introduce myself to some of the other business owners in the neighborhood, as well as, the community, I was recognized by several of them because of my community involvement. I also worked at a school that's about 5 blocks from Main Street, and I work with youth and parents in the community. So that's probably why I was recognized by some. And I just wanted to assure Hamilton Hills that my intentions are nothing but great. I don't know what happened before, but that is not me. I wish they knew my character, and I hope that they could speak to various people who can attest to the type of person I am and what I do and what I bring to a community.
Okay, thank you. So before we get back to them, somebody flashed up, Mr. Blendy, there's somebody who wanted to speak.
I'm sorry, someone who wished to speak?
There was a name that came up on my screen, someone saying he was there, he wanted to testify.
Oh, I mean, there are perhaps other members of the community. I don't know if Ms. Blum wishes to speak, but yeah, there are several people who indicated they wish to testify. If you'd like to go into public testimony.
Well, first, let me finish with Ms. Blum. Let her say what she wants to say, okay?
Has she been sworn? I can't recall.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you, Chairman. I really appreciate the opportunity. Today, I am here to represent the members of the community who can't take off work to be here for a hearing. They are very concerned about any establishment that wants to be open after midnight, with the understanding that from time to time, you'll have events that will keep you open after midnight. I also have spoken to many business owners who don't have the opportunity to hear from the Main Street organization because they are not asked. We're very excited and ready to have a new concept in the neighborhood. We are concerned that there seems to be that sticking point on the lateness of the hours.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate your comment. Do any of the people who wish to speak have additional things to add rather than just reiterating what we've already heard?
Perhaps, Mr. Chairman, and the names that I have from earlier were Paul Falcon, Wanda Richardson, and there appears to be Ashley Devon and a Melissa Robinson. So I can move all of these folks into the panel.
Move them in.
And if any other member of the public that I have not named out loud wishes to be heard on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature on the Webex platform, or if you want to, if that's not working for me, I have a Keosha Hall, and a woman named Nicole, and a Crystal, and Tershia Yule. Anyone else wish to testify, please use the raise your hand feature. Everyone, Mr. Chairman, that I have seen raise their hand, I have now moved into the panel.
All right, let's swear them in.
Okay, please turn on your videos. I'm also going to have to go through and get the last names and spellings. Some people just have their first name listed. Okay. Right, I see Ashley Devon. Okay, I see Miss Robinson. Okay, Miss Hall, I can't. Okay, Miss Hall, I see your video. Okay. Well, I'm just making sure I've got everyone.
Actually, what I have a weird thing in the thing. Let me ask someone, Mr. Chairman. Hi, is this Glenda Curtis? Yeah, I can't unmute. Never mind. Move forward.
She's here for Mr. Harrison, I think.
Okay, and I have someone named Crystal and someone named Nicole.
My last name is Giddens.
And
Okay,
you need
would
to
you
turn,
be able
everyone
to-
who wishes to testify has to turn their camera on. Please hit the start video button at the bottom.
Okay.
Okay. And then Nicole, I'll need your last name too.
Last name is Jordan, Jordan.
Okay.
And please
And
make
then
sure you turn your
Crystal,
camera on.
Yeah. And then Crystal, would I be able to get the spelling of your last name?
It's Giddins.
Okay. Okay, and then I have someone named Paul Falcon. Would you be able to put your video on?
That name has dropped off. I apologize. I don't think I see that person
okay.
anymore. Oh, no, they're there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just don't see the video for Mr. Falcon.
And Wanda Richardson, did you get her?
Yeah, I've got Miss Richardson.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see. Mr. Falcon, if you want to testify, you're going to have to turn your video on. Otherwise, we're going to have to move forward.
All right, let's swear these people in.
Okay.
Okay. All right, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury? And please state your name before your response.
So Wanda Richardson, yes, I do.
Tertia Yule, yes, I do.
Crystal Giddens, yes, I do.
Kiosha Hall, yes.
Ashley Devon, yes, I do.
Oh, Jordan, yes.
Is that everyone?
Miss Giddens, did you respond?
Crystal Giddens, yes, I do. Yes, I responded.
Okay, great. And Miss Irwell?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Miss Yule?
Okay.
Yeah. And so, Mr. Chair, as a reminder, this is a mixed bag of support and opposition, so I don't know how you wish to move forward.
Let me ask this question, because we've heard extensive testimony about objection to the hours, and we've heard testimony about all the matters on which there's agreement. So if you have something to add, it's in addition to that, I'd like to hear from you. So whoever does, start up.
I would like to speak in support of and speak to the conditions raised.
Okay.
So should I start, or
please?
How do you want to start?
Okay.
Hi, you all. My name is Ashley Devon, and I'm a current Policy Director, Education and Youth Justice Policy Director, and I live in the immediate vicinity on Gibbons Avenue. I want to first start off by highlighting that Mr. Harrison is an outstanding citizen in our community. He has been an educator with Baltimore City Schools for a number of years, and he has been a coach, a girls basketball coach for a number of years. I'm particularly speaking about the conditions. As a homeowner in the immediate community, it was mentioned that this facility has had numerous owners in the past, and I would like to say that the conditions put in the MOU of those organizations greatly impacted their business operations and led to those businesses closing with great deficits. I would also like to add, at the beginning of that block, there was a historic restaurant that had been there many years that recently closed multiple years ago because of the change in the demographics to the community. I want to just really highlight that this business will be the first business with equity ownership, or ownership that reflects the racial demographics in the immediate vicinity of the community. And I would like to add that where this tavern or location is located, people of color or equity ownership has been locked out historically. Many of the residents, we have to leave our community to enjoy entertainment, and we are excited for an establishment of this nature to come to our community. I am asking that there is no impulse, that there are no restrictions placed on the hours, because we have in this immediate vicinity no sports taverns in which we can go to. I am sitting here in my university gear because I'm a former collegiate athlete. My husband is also a Division I former collegiate athlete, and we enjoy sports and we enjoy being in our community. And I'm extremely excited that someone of the caliber of Mr. Harrison is opening a company or organization in my community that I have immediate access to without having to drive outside of this area or into Baltimore County.
Okay. Well, thank you. Appreciate it, man. Who else?
My name is Crystal Giddens, and I'm speaking on behalf of Dante. I'm for the sports bar. I live in the community as well. I live in the Frankfurt area, which is maybe 5 minutes away from the sports bar. I love sports. I know Mr. Harrison for years. He's a wonderful person. I don't think that anything about the sports bar will raise any type of problems. The hours and regulations, some sports games, I'm a Ravens fan. Some games is going into overtime, and 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, sometimes we need the extended hours. So I'm for the sports bar, and I think that it's wonderful that if you would allow it to come to our community. That's all I have.
Thank you. Anyone else?
This is
I would like-
Melissa Robinson. I would like to speak on behalf of Dante Harrison as a business owner in that community and a character representative for him.
Okay. Can you speak up? It's hard to hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
A little bit better, but
Okay, I have on a Bluetooth. Is that the problem? Can you hear
I
it better?
I can go ahead.
All right. So I'm speaking as a business owner. I've owned a salon in that area of Bel Air Road for 13 years. Me and Dante actually worked together, and he's brought a lot to the business and the community, as you've heard over and over. He is a great person, and I do know that he has a very, very, very good plan as far as bringing revenue and bringing good people into a community, which will actually help other business owners, and that is something that's needed in Baltimore. I think that we focus on the smaller points and the negativity, but I'm speaking from a business that have been in that community, that have seen the drought and the decline of businesses closing and not having anything to drive traffic into that area, which helps for people to see the community and see the, see the diversity that is over in this area. Also, would like to speak on the fact that, like everyone else, that his long hours. I know a lot of us business owners, a lot of people on Friday nights, I don't get off sometime until 10 o'clock. And as an adult in a community, would love to be able to entertain, be able to go out and be casual without just having an hour to sit down and watch a game or have a drink. And I know other adults as well. It is a responsible, Dante is a very responsible person. He is a taxpayer, he is a citizen, he is a good person, and I think that he should have the rights that most anybody would have to operate fully in a new establishment and have the opportunity to bring his best to the community and let them see what he can do. He's ran several programs, even with my business, as far as back to school giveaways. He's done a lot for the youth in the community, and I think that's all to be considered, that he does have a lot of good people that plan to support him and come into that community that were not spending money in that community at all.
All right, thank you. Is anyone else?
Yes, I'm Tia, and I've known Dante for about 7 or 8 years. Dante was originally my daughter's middle school coach, and Dante played a very intricate role in my daughter obtaining a full D1 scholarship, as far as her staying along with the grades. And, he was just a major support for how far she's gone so far. And the way that he was able to manage and control his team was what made me want to bring my daughter to him, because he had so much, they respected him so much because how he ran his team, and his morals were just so in check that he was able to have a lot of control over his team. So I just feel like just knowing how he's able to control and manage a bunch of children, even through his camps and things like that, because he hosts basketball camps often, him communicating and maintaining his community, I think, will be a cake. So, voilà.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Keosha Hall. I've been for over 10 years. I've been for about years. I'm super excited for him to be coming in the community. As an owner, I'm a business owner myself since 2015. I know that he would just bring amazing people to the establishment. He's a very responsible person, a good person, as many of the other people have got on and said. And I just wanted to come on and attest to his character. I know that he do well. As far as the business hours, I do know that there are other persons, other businesses whose hours are open to 2 a.m.
That's cutting out a little bit.
The neighborhood. I just want to come on here and say that I support him. He'll do great. He's an amazing person. And he's a mentor to a lot of people, including myself. He'll do great. And I just wish everyone would just give him the opportunity to do that.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, hello. My name is Mr. Wanda Richardson. I am actually a member of the Laurelville community. I have known Mr. Harrison for approximately 7 years now. Mr. Harrison has been determined in just about any and everything that he does, actually. During the pandemic, Mr. checked on my children who actually plays basketball or volleyball with him. We were excited to see him actually at the Louisville market, flea market. We were one of the parents that he actually saw. My children were excited about his establishment, and we are eager to see his business flourish, as well as the hours. I believe that no one should be punished or penalized for someone else's actions. Also, Mr. Harrison has a great relationship with members of the police department, school police, Baltimore City Police, also MTA Police. He has great communication with them as well. So I just wanted to put that on the board and just wish Mr. Harris well, and also hope that the community allow for this thing to thrive. And if there's an issue, he can just work through it.
Okay, thank you. Do we have everyone then, Mr. Bundy?
Anyone? Is there? Oh, yeah, one more person. It appears I have another hand raised, Mr. Chair.
Okay, get that person. They sworn already?
No, Vanessa Williams, you have just been moved in. You need to turn your camera on if you wish to testify. It should be a start video button at the bottom now that I've moved you into the panel.
It is.
Okay.
Are you able to see me and hear me now?
Can't see you. There you are. All right, let's swear her in.
Okay.
Okay, please raise your right hand. Okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. First, I would just like to say that I met Dante almost about 20 some odd years ago. And I've also met him being a coach at the school. He's excellent with the kids. The community loves him. Also, personally, like even with my daughter, the relationship, just his, the way he personally relates to people in general, excellent. Anytime there's an issue, problems, anything, very, the way he will talk to you to work things out is just excellent. I just don't think that he should be penalized anything for things of the past. We're trying to move forward to the future, and I definitely support his endeavors, and I plan to support the business endeavors personally as a patron. And that's pretty much all I want to say on that issue.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Do we have anyone else, Mr. Bundy?
Is there any other member of the public who wishes to testify and be heard on this matter? So I'm going to ask that if you are on here and you do want to, please all raise your hands right now, because after this one last person who reached out, I think, Mr. Chairman, if you're comfortable, will be the last call for witnesses.
All right, let's go.
All right, this is Ms. Pitts, I'm going to unmute you. Ms. Pitts, did you want to testify? I assume yes, I apologize. Tanera Pitts, did you want to testify?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I'm going to move you into the panel.
Is this the last one?
I'm comfortable making it the last one because I don't see any further member of the public who has their hand raised.
All right, we're going to cut it off after this. All right, let's swear Ms. Pitts.
Okay. Please turn on your video, Ms. Pitts.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is.
Hold on, ma'am.
Yeah.
You have to be sworn by the court reporter. Oh, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm going to add.
Okay.
Yeah. 1 second. So for whatever reason, I see on here, Paulette, I can't move you into the panel for whatever reason. So I apologize.
We're going to cut it off now. Let's get Ms. Pitts.
Okay.
Okay. Ms. Pitts, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So good afternoon, everyone. I have had the pleasure and the honor of working with Mr. Harrison since 2009. We started at the Friendship Academy of Engineering and Technology together, and we currently work together at Francis Scott Key. Mr. Harrison has been nothing but a pillar in both school communities that I've worked with him in. He is known as a father and an uncle figure to so many students. He has been a help to so many families. And I know that he will be using his business and his operation to do the exact same thing, continue to help and grow the community that the sports tavern is located in. Mr. Harrison goes above and beyond for everyone in our community. He ensures that staff and students have the support that they need in order to function properly as we go through our day-to-day. I know that I personally have relied on Mr. Harrison on so many occasions, and he has always come through for me. So I just wanted to say that and let that be known. I feel that he should be granted this license and that there should be no restrictions on his hours. I know that he will be a great asset to that Hamilton community.
Thank you, Ms. Pitts. So do either of the attorneys have anything to ask?
I don't have any further.
Ms. Witt?
Just very briefly, I just wanted to point out that a lot of the testimony today has been about Mr. Harrison as an educator and a good person, and we certainly don't dispute any of that. There's not much testimony, if any, about his experience in the alcoholic beverage industry or as a manager or anything running a restaurant. So that's kind of where the concern is from the community, is that lack of experience. So that's where I would leave it. And yeah, thank you.
Okay. Commissioners have anything further?
Nothing.
Nothing further.
Okay. Thank you. Then Mr. Kadensky and Ms. Witt, on the basis of the materials contained in the application, Mr. Kadensky's proffer, all the testimony that was received, in particular with the testimony from Ms. Witt about the areas of agreement that the Hamilton Hills Association has reached with Mr. Harrison and his consent to those. I would vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of this Class B beer, wine, and liquor license with continued live entertainment, outdoor table service, and delivery of alcoholic beverages, with the understanding that he will abide by those conditions, and also that there's an opportunity here perhaps for a written memorandum of understanding to be submitted to the board at a later date. Commissioners?
Commissioner Jones, I also vote to approve the application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service with delivery of alcoholic beverages. I too would like to see a MOU developed and submitted to this board sometime in the future, but I do approve the application that's on the board now.
Based upon the application, the testimony, I too would approve the transfer of ownership with continuation of live entertainment, outdoor table service, delivery of alcoholic beverages. Like my colleagues on the board, I do think there are terms that sound, based upon Ms. Witt's listing, areas of agreement, and would also like to see that in an MOU after the hearing, and just making the point that we can't control the hours of a license unless the parties agree otherwise in an MOU. We aren't authorized to do that. And so for those reasons, I too would approve this application.
Thank you. I just want to say one last thing. Mr. Harrison, you've gotten a lot of great support, and apparently you've done a great job in your community as an educator and a coach. And so you're very attuned to kids and what they need, and not to create an establishment that is harmful to family values in the community. I'm sure you'll be very attuned to that. So good luck. And Ms. Russell, do we have exhibits?
We do. I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Exhibit number 1, Hamilton Community Association, and letter in opposition. 2, Moravia Walther Improvement Association in opposition. 3, Waltherson Improvement Association, letter in opposition. 4, Louisville Improvement Association, letter in opposition. 5, 4 emails of opposition from community, 6, petition of support, 7, letters of support from Greater Baltimore Urban League, 8, 3 letters of support from the community, 7, letter of support from Baltimore City Democratic State Central Committee member Marcus Dent, 10, 3 letters of support from Francis Scott Key Elementary Middle School. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you, Mr. Kadensky, and good luck to Mr. Harrison.
That concludes this matter before the board. Council and licensee will receive follow-up instructions with how to complete this transfer of ownership correspondence via U.S. mail from this agency. Mr. Chairman, that concludes all the matters on the docket today. Do you have anything preliminary, or may I read the adjournment?
Yeah, go ahead and read it.
The board will be in recess until Thursday, September 23rd, 2021. The board shall post on its website, provide notice to applicants and/or attorneys, and conduct a virtual hearing on this date. Please call our office at 410-396-4377 between 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. with any questions or concerns that you have on this matter or any other. That is all we have for you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you to the commissioners, all the staff, and everyone who participated today. I wish you all a very happy Labor Day weekend, and we'll see you on the 23rd.
Thank you.